Hello, my name is Maxim Schwam, and this is my audience member, my dad.
Hello.
Alright, so let's get started. We're often told that our vote is our future, that as part of a representative democracy, our vote is an extension of our voice. But maybe it isn't. Maybe we never truly had a vote because we were pressured into voting for the lesser of two evils. Think of the last time you cast your vote, thinking to yourself that neither candidate was appealing to you, yet still feeling forced to vote against the opposing candidate. There are probably so many other candidates that you had opinions about which were not reflected in your vote. Imagine how many elections would change if we voted for who we actually liked, rather than the candidate who seemed the most electable. As a participant in the system, I was eager to understand it. I started to do research on how our voting system, called plurality voting, impacts how we decide which candidate to vote for. I checked its effectiveness by looking at peer-reviewed sources like JSTOR and the American Bar Association. The results from this research outline underlying issues of the frustrations we experience as American voters. I will now explain to you why we should replace our current system, plurality voting. 1. It encourages people to vote dishonestly. 2. It limits representation by forcing a polarized two-party system. And 3. There are better alternatives out there like star voting. If we were to replace this current system, we could better express our views. Plurality voting forces people to vote strategically. In a plurality voting system, you can choose only one candidate to vote for, where the one with the most votes wins. This causes people to vote for candidates they don't like to beat a candidate that they fear. According to Princeton University researchers Cuff, Kulkarni, Wang, and Stern, their publication on voting theory shows that in, quote, plurality voting, what happens most often is that a voter abandons their favorite choice to cast a vote for a candidate that has a stronger chance of winning, end quote. This selection process is called the electability bias, where the belief that our favorite candidate cannot win is the very thing that makes them unable to win. In a 2022 study from the Journal of Constitutional Political Economy, researchers Mark Walk, Nathan Quinn, and Chris Ogren found that plurality voting encourages us to vote for electable candidates, further entrenching barriers to entry and existing inequities in political representation, end quote. Elections in this way represent what people feel obligated to choose rather than expressing a true sentiment. Once individuals start to feel this, it begins to solidify a more dangerous structure. Our current voting system creates a polarized two-party system that shuts out people who we may want to vote for. Most individuals have a wide range of opinions that don't fit into black or white categories. They also generally have opinions about more than two candidates. A 2010 study published in PLOS One by Arajo, Andrade, and Herman observes how Maurice de Verger, a French sociologist, recognized the effect of plurality voting as responsible for the emergence of two-party systems in a statement known as de Verger's law, end quote. Voting for any candidate outside of the two-party binary is seen as trashing your vote. If a third-party candidate or someone opposing the nominee for a party you support runs, they're vilified for splitting the vote. You may actually really like this candidate and want to vote for them, but are afraid of voting outside the two parties. This is how plurality voting punishes refreshing alternatives. It diminishes our options by rewarding what seems popular rather than what is. This same conclusion is found in volume 18 of the Journal of Political Analysis, where Daniel Kesselman and Emerson Yao concluded that as long as voters have some shared information as to the identity of the two leading candidates in equilibrium, only these two viable candidates will receive positive vote shares, end quote. This two-party dynamic encourages extremist and populist candidates, allowing each side to use the other side as a scapegoat to offload blame rather than address issues. Edward Foley of the American Bar Association points out that, quote, using basic plurality voting in the top two primary mimics the polarization of the electorate because the top two candidates are likely to be further left and further right in a polarized society, limited to a choice between two extremes, end quote. So much of our divide is caused by this, but luckily, there are other options. There are fair options like star voting. Star voting is a system where you rate each candidate out of 5 stars. The number of stars is counted after the first round to determine who gets to go to a 2-candidate primary, where the candidate you ranked higher in your ballot receives your vote. Star voting allows each voter to not only contribute their opinion on each candidate, but also provides a user-friendly system for measuring how we feel about each candidate. A voter might give their top candidates 5 stars, their compromise candidates 4, and opposing front runner 1, and their last choice 0. Researchers Walk, Quinn, and Ogren promote that, quote, star voting incentivizes both honest and expressive voting by counting all ballot data given. The scoring round incentivizes voters to give their favorites 5 stars. The runoff incentivizes voters to also give intermediate scores because showing honest preference order ensures their full vote will go to the finalists they prefer in the automatic runoff, end quote. Because of this, voters do not need to worry about vote splitting or the electability bias because they can safely support multiple candidates. This results in a more representative system that gives other parties a chance to compete and provide the balance of opinion in our society that is often hidden as a result of the polarization that plurality voting causes. Our ability to have a fair and free vote gives us a means of liberation. Voting is the bedrock of our republic, and when that right is manipulated, our agency collapses. It only takes one election to change the fabric of our economy or determine our access to healthcare. We don't have to buy into a system that divides us. Plurality voting should be replaced because 1, it encourages dishonest tactical voting, 2, it promotes a 2-party binary, and 3, there are better options for expressing our views. Right now, we're in the midst of an election. The next time we cast our votes, let it be in a world where choosing what we wholeheartedly believe is finally enough to win. Thank you.